I never understood my sister's love for the outdoors. Don't get me wrong, pictures of the outdoors always look nice, but when you actually went outside, it was a different story. Pretty much every single moment was suffering. It was eternal torture. And for some peculiar reason, my sister loved it. Or a stupid reason, depending on how I saw it at that time. Emma, my sister, was the nature nerd. Ever since I could remember, she just wanted to roll around in the mud like a pig. As her brother, I often disappointed her in her excitement for anything nature. She would say that she thought all boys wanted to run endlessly outside. Her favorite thing to say was that I actually was scared of the outside. When I was younger, I would refuse and stand in the backyard for 10 seconds and say, "See?" I would then promptly go back inside. This would only further cause arguments. But when Emma went to college, our differences in opinion stopped being shown. Whenever she would come home for Thanksgiving or something, the topic of outdoors was never discussed. Emma was studying environmentalism or something like that. She would come home talking about exploring rare natural occurrences, Antarctica ice columns, and other stuff like that. I thought it was quite stupid. Why would you want to study about nature for college? Nature can't get you money. Why not do something useful like engineering, be an astrophysicist, or even be in medical school? If it isn't clear enough, Emma and I are very different people. She liked nature. I didn't like one thing exactly, but planned to study to be a chemical engineer. At least that's what I planned to do. After 3 months of having the first class, I started to doubt myself. I then switched to mechanical engineering. My parents weren't very happy, but I convinced them that I actually wanted to be a mechanical engineer. They believed me. Now I just had to get myself to do it. After surviving my freshman year of college and almost getting 2 dates with a cute girl, I decided to come to my parents' house for the summer. There I worked for some more money for paying off college. During that time, my sister made a surprise visit. She had just graduated from college this year and was now interning for a job in the downtown city. Knock, knock. I heard from my chair, where I was scrolling through my social media feed. My mother, who had been cooking dinner, looked up. "David, could you get the door for me?" "Yeah," I muttered as I stuffed my phone in my pocket. As I approached the door, I could see a figure through the glass of the door. Who on earth could that be, I thought. As I opened the door, I quickly realized in horror who was there. "Emma!" "David, hi!" she cried as she wrapped her arms around me. I slowly returned the hug, surprised at her enthusiasm. Mom also ran towards us, shouting Emma's name at the top of her lungs. Emma turned to her to hug her, squealing in excitement. After a hug that lasted 1,000 years, they walked away into the kitchen, questions flying from my mom's mouth. I wasn't focused on what they were saying. I stood still, taking in the strangeness of her coming. When was the last time I saw her? I remember, quite vividly in fact, I was packing to go to college about 1 year ago, and she couldn't leave me alone. She kept spouting facts after facts, absolutely oblivious to the fact that I didn't care. At one point, I turned to her and told her just that. If I remember correctly, it spawned an argument that only died when I slammed the door and drove away. So yes, I was very surprised that she was excited to see me after that event. "David," called my mother. "Why don't you come here? Don't you want to hear about Emma and what happened to her since we've seen her?" If I were to answer truthfully, I would have replied a firm no, and would have gone back to scrolling on my phone. However, I knew that wouldn't please Mom, so I said simply, "Sure, why not?" and walked over. Yes, I don't care if I please Emma, but at least my mother doesn't need to know that. "So, Emma, tell us why you're here," offered Mom. She smiled, clearly excited. "So I'm here because I'm interning for an activist company that plans on doing a protest downtown. I thought I could surprise you guys whilst I was here." "Well, you did surprise us," I said. "Good, that was my intent." "Well," continued Mother, "what's the protest about?" "It's to bring awareness about environmental issues. It's always good to help awareness about that." My mother nodded in agreement, but I couldn't have it. Can she go 1 second without talking about nature or the environment? I think we're all pretty aware about the environment. The room fell silent. I worried I wasn't subtle enough. "Well, there are still some people that haven't gotten in their heads the importance of the environment," replied Emma. Oh, how she made me steam. It was a great response, but I knew a better response to that. However, before I could reply, I noticed the awkwardness written on my mom's eyes. She didn't deserve this. Despite my pride, I knew that I didn't want Mother to see Emma and me arguing. "Sorry, how about we change the conversation?" I conceded. My mother looked at me, smiled and thanks, then turned to Emma. "How's Adam, Emma?" she asked. Adam was Emma's fiancé. "Well, we actually broke up," she said, eyes looking down. "What? What happened? When did this happen?" "Well, he came to me the day before I flew over here. He told me that he wasn't sure that we should marry. He also said that he wasn't sure that we should be together. I asked him why, but he just said that he's been offset by my recent attitude. I asked him what changed, but he couldn't say anything that made sense. I told him that everything is fine and that we should talk about it later. He didn't like that. Either way, I left alone and flew the next day. Good riddance for what all I'm concerned." "How sad. Adam was a good man. He shouldn't have just come up to you suddenly like that. That's pretty immature of him," Mother said. I was immediately suspicious. While I wasn't a huge fan of Adam, I don't think Emma is telling the whole story. She's just saying exactly what she wants to remember. Of course, I didn't say this out loud, but it did confirm to me that I wasn't the only one who thought Emma's personality was annoying. "I know, right?" Emma continued. "I mean, if you want to talk, don't just come to me all of a sudden, especially not the day before I was to get on a plane, and especially not about such a complicated topic like relationships. I'm glad that I saw the trash in him and tossed him out." "It's going to be sad to tell your father about this," my mother said. "Do you remember that he's currently in Japan?" "Oh, that's right. When does he come back?" "In about 2 weeks. Actually, I think it's a week and a half now." "Okay." Emma paused, but then turned to me. "David, you've been awfully quiet. Have you found someone who you can smooch?" "Please don't say that." "I will say that I did find a cute girl on campus named Elizabeth." "Oh, come on," counted Mom while smiling. "That doesn't count. After 2 dates, she told you that maybe you should just be a friend. Don't worry, Prince Charming, one day you'll find your princess." I smiled, loving my mother's random references. And things would have been fine if things were left at that. But in Emma's small head, she thought that she needed to add her 2 cents. "Wait, is that true? You got friend-zoned? Wow, David, what happened to that swagger you carried? Aren't you the one who said that you could easily get a girl to like you?" "Please stop," I seethed internally, but she just kept on going. "Well, I guess even the great David couldn't get a girl. Freshman year of college was difficult, huh?" "Stop it, okay? You're the one to talk, all right? I know why Adam broke up with you," I burst out. Emma raised an eyebrow. "Oh, really? Why'd he break up with me? Oh, wise David." "He broke up with you because of your awful personality. You're selfish, always focused on yourself, and you lie to yourself. Besides, you keep talking about nature. What guy could like a girl who's obsessed with nature? Adam actually liked it when I talk about the environment." "Yeah, sure he did." "He did! And besides, at least I can focus on one thing. At least I didn't change my major halfway through my first year." "Emma, David!" Mother stood straight. "Can you two stop and sit down somewhere?" "Sorry, Mom, but I need to say this. Emma, you are a narcissist. Everything is about you and you only. If anyone criticizes you, you cut them out of your life and treat them like they're crazy. You need someone to tell you that you're wrong sometimes. How dare you? I have worked hard for where I've gotten. You're just jealous. You are insignificant, tiny, and insecure. You have nothing except a job and a high school diploma. You have no girl, no career, no money, and you just attack anyone who has those things." "Emma, stop it." "David, go to your room." "Are you kidding me? I'm not a kid," I protested. "I don't care. Go there now," she shouted. I stood there, shocked. I gritted my teeth in frustration as I headed towards my bedroom. Nothing flowed through my head except anger, shock, and disgust. The whole situation had not turned out as I wanted. Nothing seemed to be going right. Nothing at all. After about 20 minutes, my mother announced to me that I could exit my bedroom. I hated it there. It made me feel small and insecure again. Why couldn't Emma take any criticism? Why wouldn't she just listen? Why was she so close-minded? As I walked back into the kitchen, I wondered what my mother was about to tell me. Was she about to lecture me about how I'd done wrong? Will she ask me for forgiveness? I rolled my eyes at the possibility. If she did, then it wasn't going to work. Give it a day or two, and Emma and I will be back at it. As much as my mother would hate to admit it, but Emma and I could just not be together in the same room. "So, David," she began, "you seem to have a problem with Emma." "I don't have a problem, Emma does." Emma, who was on her phone nearby, rolled her eyes. "Listen, David, don't talk, just listen, okay?" I sighed, then nodded. She continued talking. "I hate seeing you two argue. I absolutely hate it. If I could, I would stop you two from arguing ever. Nonetheless, I've decided for you and Emma to go on a nature trip for 2 weeks to solve your problems. When you come back, your dad will be back. I expect you two to be back as friends. Show him that you love each other. I will not go another day with this hate between you and Emma." "What? Are you serious?" "Too late," Emma said. "I've already booked a flight for you and me, David, we're going to the Andes Mountains in Chile in 2 days. Chile? Really? That far? That is kind of far away, Emma admitted. Mom, I know, Emma admitted. But there's a beautiful glacier there that I want to show him. I really have to. I have a job here. I can't just leave. And she was going to intern, David. But I convinced her and the activist company to hold off for 2 weeks, saying that it's a family emergency. I, as your mother, consider it to be such and will no longer allow you two to have disputes. It's a sacrifice for me too, David. But we both can hike. We've hiked to glaciers before. There's not that many people there, so we can focus on nature and ourselves. I hate arguing with you, David, and I want to solve this, Emma added. I raised an eyebrow. I doubted her sincerity. She's probably just going to use this to shove her points down my throat. If it wasn't for Mother, I probably wouldn't have accepted this. However, I realized that I too hated this division. I should not hate my own sister. Besides, if Mother truly wants this, then I should listen to her. I nodded and agreed to go. I guess I was about to spend the next 2 weeks with Emma in Chile.